week. So please welcome to Streaming for Vengeance, a longtime BraveWords friend. I'm so honored to have you on the show, Lips from Anvil. Thank you so much.
Great to be here, Tim.
Awesome. Yes, we've got a long history, but it has to be really frustrating for you because Legal at Last, the last album, came out in February 2020, and then the fucking shit hit the fan. Like, you had all your plans in place, obviously, ready to go on the road and work on this new record, and then bam, you hit a wall.
Yeah, but it's everybody hit it. Yeah. So it's not like it happened and I was alone in the devastation, right? But in the Anvil spirit, you roll with the punches. That's what you have to do. There's no other fucking choice, right?
Right.
So we had 60 some odd shows that we were about to begin to do. Actually, it was about 40 at that point, because we'd done about 17 shows at that point. We started out in the UK, and of course the album came out February 14th. So by the March 1st, we were already on the road. So we got to England, and by the 17th, everything is fucking going south. So we ended up scrubbing the tour. We had to go home. It was real fucking disappointment, you know. I'm getting emails from Ian Anderson. I'm going to meet you at the next gig, and we're going to go have a fucking curry. And I'm thinking, my God, I'm going to go out for lunch with the fucking singer of fucking Jethro Tull. I'm all fucking psyched, right? And I'm going through that second week in England, just fucking vibrating, thinking this is going to happen. But by the time it's going to happen, about 2 days before, he emails me, I'm not leaving the fucking house.
Yeah,
and that was basically, there the writing's on the wall, man. We're fucked. So we get to of course now it turns into get a flight home, and it was turning into can't get a flight home. Everything's fucking closing, and all the fucking airlines are shutting down, and it's like, oh no, right? So we're calling friends in England, and we got offers to go out to Wales and hang out there till the pandemic's over. They figured, it'll only be over in a couple of weeks. It's like, no, I could have been still sitting in Wales, for fuck's sakes.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we get to the airport. I guess it must have been the 17th of March. I get to the airport in Heathrow, and we got flights, and we're thinking, shoo, we got flights. Okay, we're gonna get home. So we walk up to British Airways. We hand our passports. They're going, sorry, no flight for you guys. And we're going, what? And they're going, well, this is a joining flight in New York, and you guys can't go to the USA anymore.
Wow.
You guys need to book a flight direct, or you're not going home. We're going, oh no, okay. So our connecting flight was a Delta flight, but we're at British Airways. I go ask the guy at Delta. I'm going, oh no. And of course you're in fucking one part of the airport, Delta's in the other. Takes you 20 minutes. We're not talking about just cross the hall and there it is. It's like, no, get on fucking elevators, escalators, walk through the fucking terminals, and you're finally there. 20 minutes later, I walk up and the guy goes, what the fuck do you want from me?
Wow.
We don't have flights going to Toronto from Britain. You're sorry. So of course now I'm going, uh-oh. So I get on the phone to my travel agent, just going, you got to get back to British Airways as quickly as possible, because there could be flights we could get you on, and until you get back there, I can't do anything. So I get back to British Airways. I get her back on the phone. She goes, let me speak to the lady at the desk. Okay, so I hand my cell phone to the lady at the desk, and of course she starts handing it around to all the other frontline workers.
Jesus.
So they get us a flight direct home, no extra charge for the change of the flight, no extra charge for baggage. It's a direct flight. It's like, fuck, we're laughing. I get on the flight, everything's all good. by the 23rd, I'm as sick as a fucking dog. I got the first round of COVID, man, and fuck, a month in fucking bed, man. I was fucked. Okay, and that's all from the cell phone lending, because you're not thinking about things like that when you're in an emergency like that.
Sure.
I was the only one who got sick, and so no one is believing me. I'm collapsing. I'm collapsing upstairs while my wife is downstairs because we're completely separated because you can't be in the same place. So
Right.
she hears me collapse and she calls 911, and she's going, listen, my husband came back from England. He's got COVID. And I think he just collapsed upstairs. You got to send an ambulance. And I go, is he breathing? And she goes, Lips, are you breathing? And I go, yeah. And I go, fuck, I'm fucked, man. And so that they could hear me in the background. They go, he sounds fine. We're not coming.
Jesus.
So people are going, hey man, and anybody you tell you got COVID, they go, there's no such thing, man. I don't know anybody who's got COVID. It's bullshit. It's all just to get fucking power. The shit that I heard, and then it's like, did you get tested? You couldn't even get tested.
Right.
They didn't have tests in March 2020. No such thing. You know, they're testing people on their deathbed, but that's about it. It took a month or two before they actually had standardized tests and they started actually really seeing what was going on. But it turned into a real fucking nightmare. So after getting home and getting better, I sat down in my little room in here and just started riffing and putting music together, and we went in and just started writing the album, and that's what we did. So didn't want to waste any time. There's no sense, brooding over, oh, we no tour now. What are we going to do? Meanwhile, everybody's going, yeah, you're not allowed out of the house, and we're fucking, fuck you. Fuck that, man. Hey, the guy who runs our rehearsal place, don't go in there. You're gonna get in trouble. And I'm thinking, who the fuck's gonna know I'm there? The whole building's fucking empty. Who's going to be there? I'm going to be there.
Yeah. And you've already had it.
Oh, no. I went in, we went and rehearsed every fucking day. I'm living in a bubble. All I'm seeing is Rob and Christ every day. They're seeing their four walls every day and me. That's right. It. So what dangers are we to anybody?
Yeah.
None. You can't go anywhere. You can't do anything. Everything's closed. So we're just going to rehearsal every day. We wrote the album and got it done. And that's the name of that, so whatever.
And you're writing new songs like Lockdown.
Well, that's right. That just ended up as one of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was talking in the other interview, one of the interviews that I did today about other musicians in the band taking part in writing. Well, everybody has their place and their position. I'm the main guy. Like, I don't have to consult with the singer, right? The singer and the guitar player are the same guy. When I write the riff, I already know where the singing goes, so right. I don't really have to consult with the singer. Hey man, where does the singing go? I already know. So there's no real purpose to have other writers when you're doing two jobs. But what's Rob's contribution as far as writing is concerned? He comes up with all the fucking titles.
Yeah,
he has fucking thousands of fucking titles.
I know.
And then I look for the one that fits the music, and you always find something that works. And so that's a very, very important thing, And it's not that I just. It's better to see the title in front of your eyes and know what you're going to. Now I got a subject and a direction, and then I have no problem in writing the lyrics. But to come from complete scratch, it could be about anything. Mm-hmm. And it takes a long time to then come up. It's easier to look at a list and pull something from a list than have no list and pull it out of thin air. Simple as that.
How do you think writing music has changed for you over time?
Confidence level.
Okay.
And what do I mean by that? Well, I got a riff, like for many years, what would happen is I wouldn't even bother sitting down and sussing anything out. I just wait for that special moment at rehearsal, and I just happen to come up with a riff, and then we turn it into a song. And it could be weeks in between each piece of music. It just takes ages to do it like that. Rather than sitting down in this room, grab my axe and just start fucking grinding away and coming up with ideas, which you do every time you pick up your guitar. And then it's up to you whether you're going to either remember it, record it, or something. Because if you don't, then it came and went, and you're missing opportunity. And that's what I came to discover. So you're asking me what's changed. Well, what's changed is instead of just flippantly come up with something and forget about it, I record everything.
Right.
I sit and I concentrate on being creative and only worry about that and not worry about whether I'm going to remember it. And I record everything. And what I've eventually come to discover is that as the singer, I know what to tell the guitar player, what needs to go there. So who am I asking what they think and why, right? Like, why am I asking my drummer what he thinks of the chord changes when he doesn't even play guitar? And he's not singing. Why do I need that? Do I really need that input? And that's what I'm saying about having the confidence. No, I don't really need that input. I already know. So what am I doing? Why am I consulting? What am I consulting for? And what am I getting out of it? And ultimately, these are the other things. In the past, we've had musicians in the band that it turns into ego. The whole thing turns into ego driven music rather than writing a piece of music for the sake of the piece of music. So you got a great piece of music. I come in with a great idea, and then you got a guy in the band who's going, put this part in, not because it belongs, because it's my part.
Right.
And I want to get royalties, and I get to say that I was part of writing. You haven't improved anything or made it any better. All you've done is added a part that doesn't need to be there.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of that in a lot of Anvil music where there's parts and you're going, okay, well, it's a part. And for me, when I listen to it years later, I'm going, what the fuck why did I let that happen?
Yeah. It's a song credit, as you say.
I let it happen because if I didn't, then the guy might have left the band. But did he make the song better? Which is ultimately the most important thing of all. That's the paramount thing. It's not about the ego, it's about the songs. So I mean, some of those attitudes have changed. So I've come to realize everything has its position, its reason, and its shape and form, and you go with that. Why are you fucking trying to rewrite history? You can't do that. Like, why am I trying to force things that don't belong? You shouldn't be doing that with music. Everything must belong. Everything belongs in its place and needs to be tidy and natural, not twisted and coerced into position. That's not how you write music. It's not really proper. It doesn't ultimately do you anybody in the band any good. So these are the things that have changed. So like I said, I work my way through, and this is what the truth is. When my part is written, okay, which is a guitar part that has a beginning, middle, and end, that's the song.
Right.
What the other guys do is their accompaniment to the song. That's not writing.
Right.
That's not writing. Like, as an example, we went in to do the I guess it was the Hope and Hell album, and we had hired a bass player from the States, and we're in the midst of doing bed tracks, and the guy hasn't even really barely even learned the songs because he came from the States, and he's coming in to record, and he's actually having to figure out what's going on. And he said to the producer, I'm writing my part. He goes, you're not writing fuck all. You're putting accompaniment. Right. That's not called writing. Like, learn what the fuck what terminology is, and then have a discussion with me. But you don't say you're writing a song when you're writing the bass parts for something that's already there.
It's already written.
That's not writing a song. That's writing your part. And writing your part is the accompaniment. That's not writing the song. Two different things.
So the last time we met, Rob was talking about this big Bible of album titles, and
right.
This was when it was revealed that it was going to be Impact Is Imminent. We know that Exodus used it a long time ago, but it's the first album title that, like, all your album titles had the first and third word with the same letter, right? But now all three words have the first letter.
That's unplanned. It's not, it was never really, and quite honestly, to be honest with you, it was never brought to my attention till right this second.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So no, it wouldn't make sense.
It's an Anvil first.
More imminent. Impact is imminent is the most sensible one, right? So yeah, it's the first one that has all three letters? Yeah, maybe it is. I never really thought about it in that way.
Yeah, there we go. Now, and the last time we spoke, it was a really cool, heartfelt conversation about Anvil, and Rob was mentioning that you guys kind of a few years back just had a really like stare in the mirror moment where it's like, we're like Motorhead, we're like AC/DC. We don't change. Anvil really is Anvil. But how do you keep that template but still grow a little bit? You know what I mean?
Well, actually, you're not really conscious of it. It's like, are you really conscious of your face?
Now, because I'm looking at it.
Other than when you look in the mirror, oh, I need a shave, right?
Right.
Are you really that conscious of, well, I look like this today, maybe I better walk around like this all day? You know what I mean? You don't really think that way. So when you ask me something like that, you're not consciously thinking, I'm going to write a song that sounds like Anvil. I don't really think about it in that way. I just continue writing.
Right.
If you don't think about your voice, I'm going to change my voice. That's the way my voice sounds. That's the way it sounds. I can't change my voice. It's what it sounds like. Like I saw someone said, hey, Lips doesn't sing the same anymore. And I'm going, what the fuck are you talking about? I didn't sing the old songs. It sounds identical to the way it did then. What the fuck are you saying? Doesn't make sense.
Well, I don't know what
something just complete nonsense. You're not gonna, no. I am who I am. I do what I do, and that's it. It's not like it's fucking contrived or pushed to do that. It's just what it is naturally. You know, you don't go to Van Gogh. You go, hey man, Van Gogh changed his art style, and now he's painting like Rubens. It never happened. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And believe me, he's not thinking I'm painting like the Van Gogh. He wasn't thinking like that. He's just painting. That's how he paints. That's how I write music. That's what I do.
Right.
That's how I sing. That's how I put my songs together. I can't help it. I'm not doing it. I'm doing it on purpose because that's how I do it. So you're not doing it with the idea that you're doing it and attempting to sound the same. That's not what you're doing. And in actual fact, the real truth is you're not. You're not really the same. If anybody who gets to know the music well enough can totally, there are differences all the time. And some of the biggest complaints to audiences is the varieties of songs that we put on albums as Anvil. Never mind that each album is sounds similar to each other. The songs don't. Come on, man. Fire Rain is not the same song as The Wizard's Wand. They couldn't be more different as far as songs are concerned. Different feel, different texture, different key. I mean, how much more different can you get from each song from one to the other? But there's an overall similarity to the album before, to the album before that, to the album, because it's all the same writer. Like I can show you that there's like 10 or 15 different Van Gogh paintings of sunflowers. And every one of them is fucking different. But if you don't look at them, You think you've been looking at the same painting every time.
Right.
But as soon as you start looking look at them, rather than just look at one at a time, you start realizing every one of them is different, very different. Not just a little different, very different. It's just on the facade, the outside has a similarity and a familiarity to it. That's what it is. And that's the same thing with AC/DC. Come on, let's face it, Highway to Hell is not the same song as Hell's Bells. They're two different songs. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. They're two different songs. You Shook Me All Night Long. It's not Hell's Bells, okay? Yeah. They're all different songs. But yes, they're all AC/DC. Yeah. And that, Motorhead. Well, is Sacrifice really the same as Ace of Spades?
Yeah.
You can tell they're the same band, but completely different songs. Come on. Civil War is not Sacrifice, right? Come on, man. You can tell it's Motorhead, but it's two different songs. Like the criticism that the heavy metal audience is like a bipolar retard. Sometimes I don't fucking get it. It's like, hey man, these guys they're not successful because they didn't sell 1 million records. But then when they do, then you turn into Nickelback. Oh, you guys suck because you sold 1 million records. Like, what the fuck? That doesn't make sense.
No.
They're not successful. They didn't sell 1 million records. Motorhead wasn't successful. They never sold like Scorpions or Iron Maiden. Does that make them unsuccessful? They were one of the most toured and seen bands in the fucking world. What do you mean unsuccessful? If you understand where I'm going with it, and does all their music sound the same? No, not to the people who buy all their records. They don't.
No, I agree. To an outsider, and you could say all of Van Gogh's paintings are all the same. They're not, even when they're the same subject. They're not. So it's the same thing when you talk about music. That's the way I look at it. Now, I will say one thing: Anvil certainly aren't acting their age. You guys don't seem to age. When I listen to Teabag or Gomez or like Ghost Shadow, it's like, wow, man, like what the fuck are you guys drinking or smoking?
Well, it's actually, we're still smoking and drinking from the same cup and the same pipe, right?
Right. But you do not act your age.
We're still the same fucking guys, man.
But it just sounds so fresh and vibrant.
Yeah, the only thing that knows about my age is my lower back.
Yeah.
That's the otherwise I pretty much feel the same way every day. I'm 100% consistent. The only thing that isn't is sometimes when I get up in the morning, I sound like my dad used to. Oh.
So can you quickly describe like the recording process of an Anvil record? How do you guys put it together? Is it live off the floor? Is it
everything? There isn't one fucking, every song on every album has always been recorded as a 3-piece.
Okay.
Not 4-piece. Even when we had 4 guys, never recorded with all 4 guys on the floor. And there's a reason for that. Because as soon as you put the second guitar in, you lose the tightness with the drums, because now you've clouded the mix. You can't hear the drums clear. And when you've only got one guitar, you can only hear your guitar against the drums.
Okay.
There's no discrepancy of where the note is supposed to go. It goes on that beat. That's where you put it. And if there's another guitar, the guitar puts a haze around the beat. So you're either in front of it, behind it, not quite in sync with the second guitar. And the bass guitar also, because there's no other bass guitar in its way, it can hear where the beats are too. So you do 3 different instruments, all different from each other, playing a piece of music. And you do it top to bottom. Every song is a performance. It's not done in bits and pieces and fucking constructed afterwards. Okay, these are set bed tracks that we have rehearsed for months previous to going into record. So they're real. So at the end of the day, when you go see the band live, they're playing the song from the beginning to the end, and it sounds just like the record. It's because the record is a recording of that band doing that piece of music.
Wow.
And that's what the difference is. And many bands today do everything in bits and pieces.
Pro Tools.
The drums are all cut and pasted together. The guy never played the whole song from top to bottom. That's not the case with Robbo. Robbo plays every song top to bottom. There is no cutting in or overdubbing. He plays the song like it's supposed to be played, like it's a real performance, like Led Zeppelin used to do, like Black Sabbath used to do, like Deep Purple used to do, like all the good old bands played their bed tracks together as a band. And more than likely with independent instruments. Certainly Deep Purple could play a bed track together because you had all different instrumentation, but like you can bet that well, I know for a fact that Metallica do not record 4-piece from the Live on the Floor. That's a 3-piece band and everything is overdubbed.
Okay.
It's just the way it is. At least that's what they tried to do until they did I think that was the Black album. And right. all the drums are spliced together because Lars couldn't play the whole thing top to bottom. At least that's what they say. I don't know how true that is or how untrue, but it's not the same world. And it's very important. At least it is to us that they're performances of the real thing, and that's the center of everything that we do. That it's a real band.
Now, there's a very short list of like premier players, and I'm not trying to kiss your ass here, that can actually strum a guitar and sing in tune and do it wonderfully. And I'm talking like Dave Mustaine, Jeff Waters, and you're on that little short list. I watch you and I'm like, how the fuck can this guy play like a wizard?
Well, I wouldn't say that that's a short list. And in fact, probably the most impressive bands in existence are musician singer bands.
Yeah. Okay.
And number one of all time is the Beatles, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. Yep. If you like the classic rock stuff, absolutely.
Oh, I mean, and it's like I don't know if I've mentioned it here, but what I'm saying is that the singer and the guitar player are one guy. There's no confrontation or argument between those two guys. So it's an ongoing process. It actually is more pure and more natural, if you ask me. So yeah, but some of the best, come on, man. And some of the most important are all singer players, all of them.
Yeah.
And anybody that we talk about, it gives them if they're a musician that sings, it gives them such a unique sound. That's the thing. It's usually separate singers have a separate singer sound, but nothing compares to the originality or the uniqueness of an actual player singer. I mean, I just saw Susie Quattro, who is like that's the queen of rock and roll, right? I mean, we don't know fucking shit from Shinola here in Canada because we missed it. We just I guess we're outside the box of what she was about, and she was a huge star in the UK. So, and that's where I actually saw her do the performance. I saw her at the Royal Albert Hall. It was fucking awesome.
Wow.
Here's a woman that's 71, 72 years old, and she's fucking kicking most guys' asses, and she's singing and playing bass. Come on, Geddy Lee sang and played bass. Can you think of somebody that sounded more unique than that? Ricky Emmett sang and played guitar. Anybody sound like that guy?
Yeah.
Anybody sound like Paul McCartney that you know? Anybody sound like Lemmy that you know? You know, I mean, you can go on and on and on and on about and Rob and I were talking about singer musicians. And here's the thing. Everybody that I've mentioned has taken criticism for the uniqueness, for that uniqueness and aspect, and criticism, unwarranted criticisms. But can you imagine? I'm reading an article that when Motorhead played Glastonbury before Lemmy passed away, and the fucking article said he's got more strings on his bass than notes he can hit with his voice.
Yeah.
No one in the world sounds like Lemmy. That's what fucking made Motorhead. What are you fucking saying? How do you fucking rip on what fucking makes something what it is?
Yeah.
It makes no fucking sense. You know, Megadeth, I hate Dave Mustaine's voice. I can't stand the band. Then don't listen to it. Listen to something else. They're not going to fucking get a singer. Dave sings. That's who sings. You don't like the way he sings? Tough shit. You know, that's just the way it is. But no one sounds like Dave.
Right.
No one sounds like Lips. I sound like me. And that's a good fucking thing, man, because otherwise, what have you got?
Right.
If you haven't got any uniqueness, you've got nothing. You have to have that. You have to have at least that. And sometimes that can be less than the masses like. But come on, man. The world is an ass and filled with shit, if you ask me, because most things that are good are unique. And it's not everybody's cup of tea. And that's what makes everything so special. And it's like if everybody loved Motorhead like they like, it would never be like what Motorhead really meant.
Yeah,
if Lemmy sang like fucking, I don't know, like the guy in Poison, it wouldn't be Motorhead anymore. We probably wouldn't like it the same way. Face it, you won't. Because there has been bands that have done the Motorhead thing with, you know, fancy fucking done up vocals by a separate vocalist and all, and they never get anywhere because they sound like everything else. There's nothing unique. It's the voice that separates all the bands. A riff is a fucking riff. Who's singing on it? It's actually the physicality of the aspect. And what are the physicality? The vocals and the drums, right?
Right.
And those things actually are the most transparent when you listen to metal. So you're listening to the feel, right? Which is what the drums are giving. And you're listening to that voice, which is the top of the mix. And if you don't like those things, you're probably not going to like the song.
Right. Wow.
And that's it. Or like the band. You don't like the feel that they're playing all slow shit, that's going to be pretty boring to you if you're like speed metal, right? So that's, and if the guy is, you know, and also the thing is with vocals these days, the death metal and all that, there is no sound to the vocals. There's no shape or form to the logos. You don't even know who you're listening to or what you're listening to. Right? So, but that's all done on purpose too.
Right.
And that's done because for the same reasons. They're doing it to not be like everything else.
Right.
Right? You're doing it, I'm going to sing like, because no one else is doing it. So that then all of a sudden now they got 1,000 bands barking and howling, and now that all sounds the same. Now what are you going to do? So they make logos that are so hard to read. You go, well, you have to actually memorize the shape, not what it says. So then you get to know the shape. And that gives its uniqueness. It's unbelievable how far we've had to push the boundaries to find our uniqueness and what the things that are being done to discover new uniqueness, because everything is so much the same. But ultimately, when it all comes down to it, is uniqueness. With everything to give it any kind of success, any success whatsoever, is completely tied into what are you doing that separates you from the rest.
Right.
And if you're not doing anything that separates you from the rest, then you just fall in with the rest and never stand out, and you're not going to make any much difference you being there or not being there. So if you want to make a difference in being there and make a substantial mark, you better have something unique. You better be giving something you give that no one else does. So I mean, I'm doing that since day one, and that permeates everything. That includes your presentation to an audience. That includes the way you dress, the way you look, your facial expressions, the things you do. I play with a vibrator. No one in the world does that. Hey, I've got something. I got something no one else has. There. Step one. You know what I mean? It's all about that. Oh, the whole thing is everything. It's show business, not shoe business.
Okay, can I throw a couple left field questions off you? Do you mind? Well, speaking of show business, I heard there might be a rumor that the Anvil movie may be re-released at some point in time to a new generation of unsuspected metalheads.
That could be happening. Could be. I mean, is it, will it, should it? Is it up to me? Do I have anything to do with it? No.
Okay.
So in a simple answer, I don't really have an answer. We'll see. Time I'll always tell. People have been asking me, when is the sequel coming out? And I go, I've been living it. What do you mean coming out? I've been living it. Fuck, the world has been observing it in real time. What the fuck? You need a movie to do it? But actually, I think what the truth is, there'll probably be some kind of a sequel, but it will be after I'm gone. Which would make sense. What happened?
Yeah.
It would be great to see it in a retrospect and afterwards. But what's the point in showing that I haven't been back to a fucking regular job in 15 years? They're going to show me playing to mostly full clubs all over the fucking world. What's changed? We're doing that on 100% consistent level for better money. And I'm making a fucking living. I never had to turn back and go take a regular job. In other words, my dream came true. I'm 100% musician now. I don't have to do anything else. And it's not about making $1 million. It's about being able to do what you do and make a living at it. That's the ultimate dream. It couldn't get better than that. And the other thing is, who wants to sell millions and millions of records? You might want to, but you got to be careful what you wish for, because it's not such a great place. Because to be honest with you, I wouldn't want to be where Chad is in fucking in what do you call it, the Nickelback. I sell millions of records because I've been on the radio all over the place, but all the metalheads hate my guts because I sold out. But I didn't sell out because that came natural. But it's still, you sold 1 million records. Fuck you. It's like the insane. Like I said, the stuff doesn't make sense in this genre of heavy metal. It's like my favorite music is the obscure, right? And I got to know, my one-upmanship to you is I know a band you don't know that's fucking heavy as fuck. That's my one-upmanship. But meanwhile, no one knows who the fuck they are, and they're not making money. But then at the same time, the people who sit and criticize, oh, the bands who don't sell millions of records, they suck and they're not successful. Hey, most of the fucking metal genre don't sell millions of records. Like 4 bands maybe do. The rest don't. So what are you saying? The rest is not worthy? Fuck off. That's what I do with the whole thing. And so that's how I feel about it.
Let me show you this photo, because you saw it when you did that signing session. This is me and you in 1988, one of my first interviews as a journalist, talking to you. So we're talking, dude, like this is like 30 plus years. Not that I'm trying to age us, but I'm looking at this photo today. I'm like, I gotta ask Lips.
That's pounding. That's, I know what album that's from, 1988, 87.
Yeah. And I'm looking, I gotta ask Lips, like, what do you miss from this era? Like, what do you miss from the olden days?
The sexual promiscuousness, the open free world that it used to be, the fun that an adolescent could have is gone. It left with AIDS. When the AIDS scare, it changed it changed everything. It really, really did. I mean, you know, when I talk about the shows early in the early years of in the early 80s and late 70s, man, what a world.
Yeah.
You know, you could write a song Butterbus Jerky because you did it. You know what I mean? Right. Things changed after that. All the sexual promiscuousness was gone. And people became really closed, you know. All that stuff disappeared. So did a lot, and so did the attitudes in the way that, you know, I could get away with writing a song called Butterbus Jerky and we could all have a good laugh. Well, you can't do that anymore. And actually it changed. And I didn't really notice it changed and tried to continue and do things like that. And even yourself, you're going, you guys got to lose that anytime now. You got to get rid of it. Like I remember you as in particular, you saw the lyrics to Mattress Mambo and you're going, you got to be kidding me. You shouldn't be doing that anymore, guys. And not that there's anything wrong with it. There was, whether people want to say it or not, and I really don't care, but it's not easy to write comical stuff. It's actually even more difficult than writing something serious. It's actually more difficult to come up with good ideas to make people chuckle and laugh when they read a lyric. It's actually more difficult. And that's why in many cases, comedians become some of the best actors, like Robin Williams. It's because it's so fucking hard to make people laugh that being serious is easy in comparison. So I don't know if that makes any sense to you.
No, it does. It does make sense because everyone thinks they're a comedian, right?
Yeah, but when Robin Williams does Good Will Hunting or
Exactly.
it's some of the best acting we've ever seen in our life, right? But he's a comedian.
Right.
It's because he's a comedian that he's able to capture such seriousness and do it so well. So I mean, you have to have a certain level of understanding to what it all is. But a lot of that stuff went away, and I recognized it as going away. And it's not really nor here nor there. It's not like it was a complete center focus. I did it here and there, and it was more used for comical relief to some of the most serious of subjects. It got, you know, the subject of the Korean airliner being shot down in the 80s on the same album that you got Mad Dog. So, you know, there's a reason it's balance, you know, it's balance. These days, there's little room for comedy. So I don't really go there anymore. I haven't in many years now. And it's probably been since Mattress Mambo and since you pointed it out to me that I went, you know what, Tim is right. And I'm being honest. I took your suggestion and I really took a look at that again. I went, you know what, the guy's right. It just doesn't work. You can't do that. Shouldn't be doing it.
Wow.
I stopped. I haven't done another one since.
Jesus.
So, you know, what does it mean? Does it mean that I became more serious? No, it doesn't mean that I became more serious. I just became less unserious.
Okay. No, fair enough. That's really touching. Thank you. Speaking of serious, not to bring it down a sad road, but when Chris Sangarides passed away, we had briefly connected, and I never really spoke to you about how he affected your life and Anvil's life when working with arguably two of the greatest heavy metal albums in Canadian history, in metal history. What did he mean to you?
Well, he was an absolutely beautiful human being. He didn't intervene in the artistic on an artistic level. He didn't inhibit you, and he didn't make you change. And that's a commendable thing, because many producers do that. You know, they make you change and make you do things you don't want to do. And CT was not like that. He was he was pretty easy to work with on that level. As far as a personable, couldn't have been a nicer person. And maybe there were maybe there were things in his personality that he could have been more of a dick, and it would have helped. You know, maybe putting his foot down a couple times where he didn't, and he let me get away with things that maybe I shouldn't have got away with. You know, generally speaking, very satisfactory. But at the end of the day, and I say that very hesitantly, it became outdated. Plain and simple.
Okay.
We could not continue working with him because he was outdated. And you got to move on. You have to. We had no choice.
Right.
You know, the people who were doing business with are just giving us can't go back there. You can't. It's not the way to do it. You got to move on. You got to move up and on, not stay in one place. You can't do that. You know, and I once talked about producers like changing your underwear. You're still not changing your looks, or you're still not changing your pants, but you're changing something that is making a difference. And that's what production is. You're not really changing a band member. You're not really changing the music or your style, but you're changing somewhat of an outlook of it. So it was time to change our underwear. And it's funny because the producer that we have now, Martin, always makes fun of, we've been continuing working with him. He goes, "You still don't have to change your underwear, eh, Lips?" So we're having a pretty good laugh about that. But what happened at the end of the day is that CT was from the old school, which is fine because to a great degree, so am I. And what do I mean by old school? It goes back to doing all the bed tracks like a real band does and do it like that. That's old school. But at the same time, the new school is using things like Pro Tools, and you shouldn't be asking a singer to got three full chorus sections in any given song, usually one after the first verse, one after the second verse, and then the choruses at the end. Well, why are you having something that's being repeated and is supposed to be identical? Why are you having the singer sing the whole thing with all the harmonies all over again 3 times? When all you have to do is go click, 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 and all the choruses are done. That saves a lot of time and a huge amount of fucking work, okay? And at the end of the day, it all sounds pristinely perfect, which is what you were trying to attain anyway. Like when we talk about Free as the Wind, there's 18 to 24 tracks of vocals, all done one at a time by one person, right?
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
That's a hell of a lot of singing. If I was to do that song today, there'd be 6 tracks.
Right. It's a great example.
Right. Because those 6 tracks, those are all the variations that happen. And now you just double them, right? Or you move them from one place to the other. And now all the choruses in the song are completely 100% consistent, which is what you want. But you didn't have to do it by having me sing the fucking thing 500 fucking times to finally get it to sound identical. Now all you have to do is go copy, paste, done, right?
Right.
That's a huge, huge advantage, and what being new school is in comparison to being old school. So when Rick Sales, the manager that we were working with at the time of Juggernaut of Justice, said, "I'm getting you another producer because you're not going in to do that again."
Right.
You just don't do that. You got to go to somebody. You've got to go to somebody up to date and record your album like it should be today, not like you did 30 years ago.
But just to reminisce, do you recall what album that CT did right after you guys? he worked with Thin Lizzy's Thunder and Lightning in 1980.
Oh, you mean back then? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no, I knew that, of course. Yeah, and what was he doing before he got to us when we did Metal on Metal? He had just done the Renegade album.
Right.
Right?
Huge records. Wow.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, what was CT doing? What did CT do after he finished Forge and Fire? He didn't even finish Forge and Fire. He left before he did the last mix and split to San Francisco to do Y&T, to do the Mean Streak album.
Jesus. Wow.
There are things that, I don't necessarily like remembering, but when you're putting together and cutting the record and the producer's already taken off, it's
that's not cool.
No, it isn't. And there are things that kept CT and Anvil separated for many years. And to be really honest, we didn't. When we went back to do This Is 13, it was not my idea. It was the director. It was Sasha Gervasi that said, we've got to show full circle. Let's bring Chris Tangarides back in. And I'm going, I don't think I want to. And he's going, but you got to. And apprehensively, we did. I'm being honest about it. And at the end of the day, I think 13 is a great album. No question about that. And the production is pretty damn good. But, there are things that I could talk about that production. It's particularly at the end, at the very closing, at the end of all of it. We never really got a proper copy. Wow. I'm just saying it like it is. That's the truth. And these are little things that added up at the end, that why the management, we said, you can't go back there. You can't. Because there were things that, I guess in Chris's older age, he wasn't as diligent as that he was when he was younger. Maybe he didn't care as much. Maybe just unlucky. Whatever or however, it's just the way it was. So that's how I kind of feel. Yeah, it's fine. No real complaints, but there were some issues at the end that soured the future for it. Not that soured what we did, but certainly for anything that went beyond it, made us go somewhere else. That's basically and fundamentally what I'm saying. It's not to say that I don't love Chris, that I don't respect what he did. It's not to say anything like that. It's just everything has a beginning, middle, and end, and we got to an end. That's basically what I'm saying.
So let's wrap things up and fast forward to now, because now finally you're not hitting a wall. In a couple of weeks, I'm going to see you at the Rock Pile, 2 shows. Right. Like shit's starting. How excited are you?
Well, this is amazing. We're about to start in on the longest period of time that we're ever have been on the road at once. To the point where we start June 1st and we got 40 dates pretty much nonstop in the US. We get back, we do about 10 to 12 dates here in Canada, some in Quebec and some in Ontario. And then after that, 60 dates in Europe, which takes us up to Christmas time. Wow. After that, we're off to Australia and Japan in January and February. So there's no end. This is like endless. I mean, 60, we've never done this many shows or had this many booked shows at once. Usually, you get 40, then later on you get another 40, but there's 100 shows booked right now that are already fucking booked. It's not a question of whether we're doing it. We have to do it. We're expected to do it.
Fuck, you're challenging Iron Maiden right now.
Well, I don't think Iron Maiden worked like that. I highly doubt they do that many shows.
Oh, they did. I mean, I'm talking like Power Slave, like in the 80s. They were doing like 280 shows or something ridiculous in a year.
Really?
Yeah, they were doing a couple of hundred shows.
Yeah, I'd like to really look at those statistics because I don't know that I don't know that I don't know that anybody has ever toured or played as much as Motorhead.
True, but when Iron Maiden were at the
To me, when I look at the big bands, they all work a couple days a week.
Yeah.
But yeah, they work a whole year, but they're not working every fucking day.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you. But when you were like jamming as a little kid, growing up as a band with Lips to Anvil, I'm like, now music literally is giving you this ticket to ride around the world.
Well, yeah, I mean, my life has worked out fucking absolutely fucking amazingly perfect. Okay. I never wanted to sell out. So the whole concept of selling millions of records was never part of my plan. It might have been the way people would hope for Anvil, or might have thought that that's where we were going. I not my bag. I wanted, and it's the same thing like Dio. I don't know if you saw the Dio movie, but it struck a chord in me. I'm going, fuck. No wonder I love the guy. You know, Rainbow was going to go fucking commercial. He quits the fucking band. Right on. You fucking know it. Just like Mad Dog would say. 10 albums, no commercial hits. All fucking right. Yeah, that's what metal is. Yes. Agreed. So, you know, when I talk about the bipolar insanity about, hey man, you never sold 1 million records, and then when you do, you suck. It's like, no. The thing to do is sell a certain amount to your audience and do it for fucking 40, 50 years. There you go. That's real metal. For the real reasons and for the real cause. You're doing it for your audience, your following, your fucking music, the way you want to do it and how you want to do it, when you want to do it, and all of it on your terms. That's real metal. Those are the guys that you tip your hat to, because they didn't do it for greed. They did it because they wanted to, and that's what's in their heart. That is authentic. That's honesty. That's the shit that you go, that's real metal. That's the stuff I want to be remembered for and what I want to be part of. And that's what I've been. So ultimately, my dream went as exactly as planned. So yeah, we had 3 albums, and they wanted to get us signed to a major label. And when they tried to do it, the American labels goes, give me the first 3 fucking Anvil albums for free. Well, what is Attic Records? What's Al Mayer going to think of that? You know, fucking go away. Fuck. You think I'm doing this for the fun of it? He's in business, and they're going, I'm not going to pay for your albums. So Anvil went without a record for between 83 and 87, the most four most important years in heavy metal, and there's no fucking Anvil. All the momentum got lost. And we've never had a major record contract in our entire fucking career. How fucking excellent is that?
Yeah.
It doesn't get more real metal than that, okay? In my opinion. So it went as planned. So what did I do? I had to work a regular job. So fucking what? And so does every other fucking metal band. Big deal. No fucking big deal. It makes you appreciate when you get to go out on a tour, then you can look at it. I'm on a fucking vacation and everybody's treating me like a rock star. What a fucking great time you're going to have, right? And when you go and play on stage, you're going to look like you mean it and play like you mean it, because you do, because you're happy to be there. There's no fucking question about it. It's not because you're there going through the motions. You're there because you can't fucking believe it and you fucking love every second of it. That's a fucking real metal. That's the real shit. So at the end of the day, when I finally don't have to have a job anymore, and that when I'm physically spent, that I can't lift 100-pound boxes of salmon down the stairs of the Senator Hotel, you know, it's like I couldn't have retired more on time and into the music business to the point where now I make 100% of my living from performing. Not from record sales, from performing and selling my merchandise. Because what has happened, the whole shape and form of the industry has completely changed. You don't make money from record sales. You make money from playing gigs and selling your t-shirts. Everybody gets your music off the internet, either for free or from downloads or by just fucking streaming. So what is it? You write music to advertise your brand name and give everybody the new tunes to listen to. They don't have to buy them. But when they come to you, they want to go in, they pay for the money to come to your show, and they pay for your t-shirt so that you can walk around and wear an Anvil t-shirt and front it and show the whole fucking world, look, I listen to Anvil. You can't do that with just a CD. You can do it with a t-shirt, you can't do it with a CD. And people like to show what they like and like to show what they say, what they listen to. So buying a t-shirt is where you're making your money. So the whole thing is, in today's day and age, what has happened is the movie put us back into the stream of going to play live gigs. Everybody wants to see us. That means we're endlessly working. That means I don't have to go do deliveries anymore. At the most perfect time in my life.
Yeah.
When I can't do it anymore. But I can certainly write an endless amount of fucking great metal, and I still haven't lost that aspect. I can do it all day fucking long and love every fucking second of it. And it's done with appreciation. I'm not burned out from 30 years of being stuck on the road and having to do it. And I'm not going through the motions. I do it because I love it. And I have done it for those reasons all along. And that's a way better place to be. So that's how I summarize where I am and what's happened. So, sure, there's lots of fucking jealous musicians, man. Fuck. Who wouldn't want what I've done? I've got fucking 19 albums on the cusp of my 20th. I've put up, been in the business for over 40 years. How many fucking people can say that?
Yeah. It's a proud moment.
It's not about selling millions of records. It's not about greed. It's about doing it for the sake of doing it and having the understanding of what it really means and what's really important and where to put your priorities and how to place your priorities. That's everything, man. So I'm not going to get, no one's going to condemn me for being who and what I want to be all my life. I'm in a great place, man, and I'm fucking glad to be here.
Perfect ending. Lips, you fucking rule, dude. Thank you so much. That was not a rant. That was one of the most beautiful